Hello and welcome everyone. Here are today from I think 3 continents already we have here together. And this is perfect because this is the community empowerment training of a growing global community of leaders who are committed to create a world based in gender partnership that works for everyone. And I'm so delighted you are taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here live. And also for those of you, if you are watching the replay, welcome, because even watching the replay on YouTube, it takes effort. And this morning, when I woke up laying in bed, feeling a bit of frustration in my body and the longing to reach more people, I was thinking about all the things, the growing expansion of the internet, the noise, the content, everything which is fighting for our attention. And that fits to our content today, because today it's about your inner voice management. And before we dive into the content, this is something like a ritual. I want to remind myself that we always do that at the start. Those of you who are working with me for some time, you know, one of my memes is inner alignment first, outer action second. So let's make sure we have inner alignment before we start. So please make sure you're sitting upright. Take a few deep breaths, roll your shoulders up, back and down, and imagine like a string is pulling you up from your top of your head, high, high, because sitting all day in front of a PC, sadly, our loving back starts to round and we hunch. Maybe you lift your chin a tiny bit. If you like, you can raise your arms, make a wide gesture, and imagine that you're pulling all your attention, which is maybe distracted by things which happened in your day before you came here, news you read, you heard. Use your hands and pull your attention. I know it looks a bit woo and strange, but pull your attention around your head and around your body. Pull your attention back to you. And give yourself a little squeeze, a little hug. In the pandemic, we all get not enough hugs. Give yourself a hug for showing up here and choose to be present. Choose to come into alignment, into the present moment, and to be here. We are human beings more than we are human doings. Thank you for showing up here. Thank you. Let's get started. As always, I suggest that you have blank pieces of paper. If you have only ones with lines or carros, that's fine too. And if you don't have them yet, I beg you to get a few colored markers, because sometimes, not always, sometimes I ask you to draw something or do crazy doodling exercises to rewire your brain hemispheres, and different colors help the brain to do that. Today, it's about inner voice management, and we are grateful here for Linda, who is here today. She asked innocently 3 weeks ago one question, and it gave the inspiration to last week's meeting and today. So just know this is a community-based training series. Your questions, your inputs, I take them seriously, and you sometimes determine what we talk about for 2-3 weeks. So Linda, you interrupt me if I quote you wrong. 3 weeks ago, Linda asked something like, when we talked about how to create a vision and about the patriarchal blind spots in vision creation, which you can see on our YouTube channel, the replay. You asked, Linda, okay, Sylvia, when I have this vision, then I have all these voices coming up, which distract me or take me away. How do I protect my vision? Correct, Linda? That was your question. How do I protect my vision? And last week's training about these 5 blind spots already gave you a powerful foundation, because I believe when you avoid these 5 blind spots, your vision in itself is way more stable, strong, and sustainable. Yet, we have those inner voices, and today it's all about that. And that inner voice management goes way beyond vision. This is why I changed a bit the title last minute. Today is about how to protect your vision, your dreams, and your confidence from your inner critics. Because the voice which tells you, Ooh, you are amazing. What a cool thing you just said. Oh, I love that dream. Go for it. That loving, encouraging, empowering voice, we don't need to manage that. That is wonderful. We need more of that. So here, who of you, and please be honest, here is more of that kind of self-loving, encouraging you, kicking you lovingly forward towards your dreams voice, more than critical voice. Anyone here? Linda says yes, raised her hand. John and Marie, more or less. Congratulations. Awesome. Awesome. The majority of people, and I don't have any research about that, but I would say over 90-95% say that the critical voices, the voices which come, yes, but you should, did you think of that? Why didn't you? Oh, these kind of voices are way more dominant. And today I want to make sure that you understand what are these voices? Where are they coming from? That you really literally understand a bit the neuroscience about them. And then I want to give you, as always, you know me, a coaching process and a few steps how to manage them. Because my goal is to empower you as a leader. And as a leader, as more in alignment you are with your vision, your goals, and your intentions, as more clear, charismatic, powerful you will be in your communication, in your way how you manage people, lead people, and just stand in the cause of what you are promoting. And I see here a few people where I know what you are working on. You are involved in global projects with the United Nations, with nonprofits, with big corporations. So who you are matters. And your inner voices, even though they might be only in your own head and you think no one else hears them, the way you talk, the way how you show up, the way how your skin looks, the way how you move your hands, everything you are radiates out into the world the quality of your inner voices. And the subconscious mind of all the others in your life or here on Zoom who see and interact with you, and their so-called mirror neurons, the neurons in our brain which see what others are doing and feed this data into our brain, and then we analyze what it means. The mirror neurons of others, they know and hear the voices in your head. A bit of a scary thought, right? We all are mind readers, some better than others, but we all are mind readers. So let's make sure that as leaders, our inner alignment aligns our voices in our head with what we want, we dream, what our intentions are. So, and we do it today with some metacognitive drawing and some visualization, because an image says more than 1,000 words. And the brain is faster and more sustainable in rewiring itself when it also sees what it hears we are talking about. And when you draw and write while we are together, you move your hand. And when, independent if you are left-handed or right-handed, you will move your hand over the middle line of the body. And please do it with me. Move your hands a few times, crisscrossing in front of your body, because something simple like this, especially sitting in front of a PC for hours, this simple movement, what you just did, helps your two brain hemispheres to reactivate in the middle of the corpus callosum, so that the communication, the neural pathways between both brain hemispheres are now more activated, more awake. And if you are sensitive to that, I hope you can sense that by just moving this, you feel a tiny bit more energized and awake than you were 3 minutes before. So sorry that I will show you my shoulder and my back for a bit, but I want you, this is not about painting, drawing pretty pictures. So please don't worry, this is already a voice which might come up. Who of you just heard, what, we have to draw? I can't draw. I hate drawing. I'm not good at drawing. My art teacher always said I'm bad. Anyone, any voice like that? No? No? I saw a thing. Yeah, Lydia said yes. Odelina said yeah. So please be super present to the inner voices in your head while you're listening to me. I'm the external voice, but you have a whole chorus in you while you're listening to me. You might judge my, by the way, new glasses, or you might judge how I wear my hair today, or you're wondering what lovely painting I have behind me, whatever. There's a voice, there's a whole chorus in your head talking to you all the time. Maybe I should have had better dinner. Now I'm stuck here on this call. I'm so hungry. Can she finally jump into the content? I want to get the process, the coaching, all this blah, blah, blah. She always talks too much. Come on, Sylvia, give me the 5 steps. I want to get out of here. I have a to-do list. Come on, Sylvia, 5 steps, 7 steps. What's your coaching process for today? Give it to me, give it to me. What? Alignment exercise? Oh, fuck alignment. I don't need that. I'm here, come on. So be present. Marilena, did I quote you? I know. Did I quote you? Yeah. Be present to your inner voices, okay? What, Marilena? Tell me, did I catch your voice? So the first thing is just draw quickly something which shall symbolize your faith.
Now purple, red, probably.
So this is just a face, right? So it doesn't need to look good. I just want you to have a face, because on top of the face, we have our beautiful brain. And I make now here these 2 brain hemispheres. And the brain is a bit bigger than the face. You see, I can't draw well either. It doesn't matter. So what I want you to write down, because everything I'm teaching you is more powerful when you relate that to something specific in your life. So right now, you highly likely have some project, dream, or goal in your life. So in your brain, there is some kind of beautiful vision or dream. So in that bubble, connected with your brain, write down your goal, your vision, something which is really, really important for you. For me, for example, is I'm working day and night on my forthcoming launch of my Juicy Life Leader Academy, which I abbreviate as JLLA. So my big vision, dream, goal right now is my JLLA. So you write whatever it's in your life right now. What's important? A project, vision. And if you want to share it with the others, type it in the chat box, because there is maybe a vision you are pursuing, or a goal or a dream where others might be able to help you or want to be part of. Please look up so that I know you all wrote it. And those of you who work without video, you probably know that there is on the bottom of the screen in Zoom space, it says reactions, and there you can show with emoticons like thumbs up or heart or something else, the spreading konupka, or wave with your hands. So you can communicate with us even if you're in a public place and can't talk or be visual. I look at these symbols. And Anne-Marie, for those of you who don't know Anne-Marie, she is my engagement manager from my Facebook groups, and she sometimes helps me and might make me aware of something going on in the chat or your emoticons, so that because when I'm passionate talking, I might miss something, but I have Anne-Marie here to make me aware of it. And Jennifer, I saw your thumbs up. Awesome. So everyone, you have your vision, project, whatever. Perfect. So now if you have in a different color, otherwise if you have only black or blue, you stay with the pen you have. I want you on your paper, and I will be now honest and share some of mine. I want you to write down, and it's important that you make the bubble first. When we draw in metacognitive drawing, when we create a circle or a square or a frame on a piece of paper, it's an intentional action to create a container, a space in which we put our content, in which we allow our awareness to arise about something. So I make now first a few of these kind of comic speaking bubbles. You know how you see in different comic books these bubbles of when people speak, their voices, and I deliberately make them all look a bit different because these different voices, they sound different. So I make the example of 4 just to make it here simple and readable for you. You can make as many bubbles and circles or frames you hear about your theme, about your project. And then into these bubbles, I want you to write, and this is something you don't need to share. I will share my ones here, and sometimes they are a bit embarrassing, but that's just human nature. So you write down honestly, what are the different voices you are hearing for your project, whatever you are dreaming right now. So, and I do this as well. I quickly write them down first because I'm not good in multitasking, which gives you a break from my voice and concentrate on your voices.
Can you repeat that, Sylvia, for clarity, please?
Yes. You write in the bubbles around your head and around your vision, inner voices. For example, you have a dream. I give you something specific. From when I think about my vision of my JLLA, one worry is I can't get through the noise in the internet. My marketing is too weak. I'm not able to get the impact I want. No one during the pandemic has free attention for that. People are already overwhelmed. So these are like beliefs, are voices, are worries, are concerns. In the title for today, I gave you also confidence. So I don't have any longer a voice who is mean against my confidence, like saying, oh, Sylvia, you are way too stupid. You can't do the JLLA, or you're not educated enough, or you are having visibility issues online. You can't train people online. So this would have been voices I might have had 20 years ago. I don't have them any longer, but these are examples. So be honest. What do you hear in your head? And I quickly write down a few of those I just said. And if you have questions, just unmute yourself and ask. Please mute yourself. Someone has a beautiful clock in the background, which is wonderful. Let it flow and come up with maybe maximum 10 if you have more, but stop with 10. And then bring your attention back to me and show me with thumbs up visually or with an emoticon that you're ready. Awesome, I see one hand. Thank you, thank you. I see your fingers, your thumbs up, Lydia. Awesome. Latasha, wonderful to have you here. We are in the middle of an exercise where we are writing down our inner voices, which we hear in our head around a current project, goal, or dream we have. So if you want to catch up, my dear, draw a face, your brain, your goal or vision, and then voices and bubbles around it. So before we go now into the next step, I want you just to be really aware of what you just did, because most people in their whole life never do what we just did. Most people, we all in our brain live with the voices every day, but when was the last time you took the time to listen to them and even write them down? Show me by a show of hands. Did anyone ever took the time to write them down. Sile, you did, awesome. Marilena, awesome, awesome. Orlanio, perfect, excellent. Odeline, I remember years ago, I was facilitating, it was one of my most scary, most honorable corporate projects. I was facilitating a leadership meeting in New York of a global organization, and there were around 120 of the top 2 levels, so the board and then the directors under the board, and 1 level more from around the world. And we did a similar exercise. And I remember one of the top executives having tears running down her cheeks, because when several other executives, especially men, were having had the courage to open up and share these voices they had, she she had tears coming up and shared, oh my gosh, my whole life I thought I'd go nuts. I thought I'm the only one who has those voices. So it's really, really important that we give here a moment for all of you to embrace the fact you are not alone with your voices. High likely, if we had the time here, and this would not be just a public quick training, we would find similar voices. We would find similar sentences. We would find that even we have here, I know, 3 continents, different countries, different cultural, racial, religious backgrounds here represented in the group. Even with differences of all these backgrounds, our voices often sound very similar. There is a common humanity in the fact that we have these voices, and B, in the content of the messages of the voices. So take a deep breath and have a moment of honoring yourself for doing the work we are doing here right now. Because what you are doing is deep alignment work, which I promise will empower you and make you a better leader. So now, having recognized that we have these voices and having written them down, the next step is to understand, where the heck are they coming from? What or who is talking in my head? And if you ever read literature about it, there are a ton of names and labels and metaphors. There's a famous book, I think it's now 30 years old or so, something with gremlins, talk to your inner gremlin, or your inner gremlin talk. So gremlin, yeah, the gremlins is one name of them. One of my current mentor, she calls it the inner critic. Others call it, or more lyrical, or in religious text, it's often called, they are the demons, the inner demon. And the positive voice, the loving voice, are the angel voices, and the negative voices are the evil voices. So angel and the evil, or demons. So there are a lot of different labels and etiquettes for the voices. And again, my job here today is to raise your awareness how you have learned to call them in your culture. And without any judgment, I want you to be aware that the choice of label you give those voices has already an impact. If you call them gremlin, whatever you wrote down, look at it, read it, and call it gremlin, and feel in your body your reaction when you look at them and think, oh, these are my inner gremlins. Then switch the label and look at them and say, ooh, these are my inner demons. And feel the reaction in you. Or you look at them and you call them, ooh, these are my inner critics. Labeling things, this is a little side nugget here, as you leaders, your choice of words and how you label things and then communicate with your team members, employees, clients, make a huge difference. Can any one of you sense a difference depending which label you give them, and can share just briefly what's the difference you feel in your body depending which label you give these voices? I would love to hear if anyone understands what I'm talking about and can sense it. Who would like to go? Odeline? I can't see it clearly. Linda, you have your hand?
Mine are a mixed bag.
Odeline, say it again, please. The connection is not so
I'm saying
strong.
mine are a mixed bag. Yeah, because it's raining.
I struggle acoustically, sadly, to hear you, Adeline. So maybe you type into the chat box, because I somehow can't hear you. You're a bit frozen on my screen. It could be my internet connection. I apologize, Adeline. Linda, what do you experience with different labels?
As you said, each word, gremlin, demon, as you said each word, I could feel my emotion going up and down. As I attached each one of those words to my bubbles, I could feel the difference as you said the words.
Awesome, awesome. Yes, Volanyo, I see your hand. Yes, Volanyo.
Yes, Sylvia, I'll side with Linda as you mentioned the various words. The emotions that are attached to each word change, and also the difficulty level. It's as though the difficulty level of such things also, they change with the words. Yeah.
So isn't that already fascinating? And I want to remind you all, this is already an empowering awareness. You as leaders, by the choice of your labels, not only on the voices, but on the choice of your labels on everything. Everything. Did I say everything in your life? You have inside your body a different emotional reaction, which radiates out through your body language into the world, which means others with their mirror neurons pick it up. Your labels matter. So now for inner voice management, what do you prefer to deal with? With inner gremlins, inner demons, inner critics, inner voices? Which label do you feel is the most serving you when you want to manage your voices, if you want to change your voices, if you want to become empowered by the voices versus blocked or distracted or anxious? Which label, in your perception, I don't say there is one which works for everyone, which helps you the most? Marilena.
For me, it's simply voices, because it is neutral and allows me to manage them and eventually to overcome them. Because if I call them demons or gremlins, or I attach, let's say, a sort of negative word, then it may be overwhelming me instead of me being able to overcome the voice or the thought.
Yes.
I would.
Yes.
In the chat earlier, and it ties in with what Marilena said, Lydia said that demons for her elicit fear, and that inner critic helps her to feel power and clarity. So it's a little bit in the same line.
Perfect, perfect. Yes, Sile?
So I actually go a step further and I just call it monkey mind, sort of to give it that agility of, or the nonsensical monkey. So kind of to squash that a bit.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes, and this would be a wonderful other training, by the way, because I love the concept of the monkey mind in general. And that points to the creative power you all have. You can choose a completely different label. You can make it up. You can, if you wanted to, if it's very different voices, you could give them different names. You can create, and there's a whole, there's a school of thoughts of counseling, coaching, therapy, they're called inner voice dialogue. Yeah, so you can create literally internally some kind of team or a group of different voices and give them names. So there's a lot of creativity here opening up. Thank you, Sile, for mentioning that, which you could do. So right now I want you to, yes, John?
So I have a question.
Yes.
If my inner voice says that I'm working with someone and that person is a big jerk, does their mirror neurons pick up the fact that I don't really feel love toward them?
What do you want me to hear? Susie, what answer do you want to hear? I probably tell you already, you know the answer. You know the answer, but you don't like to hear. You are resisting the answer you already know and want them now to hear from me. So, okay, I'm nice. I tell you the answer, but I know you already know it. Of course they do. Of course they do.
Well, it's interesting. I never really made the connection. When you're talking about your inner critic or your demon or your dialogue to yourself, prior to that, you were talking about mirror neurons and how people can pick up or read us. And so you made the connection for me right there, something I probably knew other than consciously, but never really looked at it on purpose. What energy am I bringing to this conversation? Who have I framed this person as?
Oh, I just got goosebumps. Thank you, John, because your shift made it for me worse that we all came here together. Because these are the kind of shifts I hope you get here through our weekly trainings, where something in your brain has this sizzling, this connection. Wow! Because these kinds of wow, they change you and can change your life, and through your leadership can change the world. And this is another topic, the power of projection. This is part of the content of my Juicy Life Leader Academy's curriculum and what I teach my executive clients. It's the power of projection. How you, John, go into a meeting and what you think about those people you go in gets read by the mirror neurons of others. And that is something here, especially with the pandemic and the heightened tension here in the United States, politics, etc., without going there. This is knowledge I want leaders to have because, well, no, I shut up now because this is for a different training, but maybe we do it in a few weeks. How to love the jerks in your life. Would that be a training anyone is interested in? Can I see some resonance? How to love the jerks in your life. Would that be good? Okay, let me write this down. Maybe we do it next week because we have February and we had Valentine's here 2 days ago. So maybe it would be good to have a training about love. So I need to write it down. How to love the jerks in your life. This is how you, my community, trigger the future training. So this will be now John's triggered training, how to love the jerks in your life. Okay, so I need to take a deep breath to reconnect with the focus of today. So where are we? We have acknowledged that whenever we have a project, vision, goal, dream, that then gets met by different kind of voices. So my question to you, where do you think these voices come from?
Past experience?
Past experiences, say more about it.
I did this once and this is how it works, so this is how it's going to work again, or things like that.
Yes, like you tried it so, I mean, I'm not honest here. You launched so many things online and most of them, the launches failed. Why do you think this launch will be different? Right? So there is the brain, and this is now important for all of you, the brain is a pattern lover. The brain loves patterns. The brain is constantly scanning the world to see patterns. Does anyone know why? Why does the brain love patterns?
Keep control.
Yes, that's a side effect, exactly. And why? What is a nice effect of seeing patterns? Why do we feel more in control when we see the patterns? What is the
Marsha says safety.
Yes, safety. Yes, it's connected with the control. And why are we looking for safety? What is the underlying? You're all right. It's like a multi-dimensional knot of different human needs.
Yeah, so that you don't get eaten or killed by the saber-tooth tiger.
Yep, that's a side effect too. Yep, evolutionary. Yep. Patterns are algorithms we can use to help us understand and thrive in our world. Woo, yes. Yes, Latasha, yes. The underlying issue is our world is super complex. super complex. And our brain constantly tries to reduce the complexity. Because if it wouldn't do that, we would all wake up and be screaming anxiety attack freaks, because just the sheer complexity of how do I get out of bed? Do I do it with the left leg first or the right first? What do I dress? What do I have to do today? And there's the news, and there are the obligations, and my family, and I need to eat. Our life and the world is so complex, our brain would fry, we couldn't function. So our brain is constantly looking to see patterns, and if it can't see them, it makes them up. Hint, 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 important realization. So because it tries to reduce the complexity in order for us to feel in control, Linda said, feel safe, Sile. These are the human needs. So why did Anne-Marie, where are the voices coming from? From the past. So because our brain is looking for patterns. So we look into the past. You have a new dream, a new job, a new marriage, a new project. It's new, you want to move forward, but your brain looks into the past and takes the pattern it saw in the past. You were engaged 5 times and it didn't work out. Why do you think the next marriage will, the next engagement will lead to marriage? Or you were divorced already twice. Another marriage? Who are you kidding? You are not lovable. How many marriages do you need in order to accept you're not lovable? Right? So it's, I'm sorry, something is, a voice in me has fun right now. So there is something in the brain where we look into the past, we see the patterns in the past which have served us to reduce the complexity, to make us feel safe and in control. And now we project that pattern into the future, onto our beautiful new project, dream, or vision. Does that make sense? Following so far? Okay. So we have one origin of our voices, which is past combined with pattern recognition, past and pattern recognition. What else? Where else are the voices coming from? Yes, Marilena?
It's also what others are telling us or what we see from others. So not necessarily the patterns in our lives, but the patterns of other people's lives.
Perfect. So
the
pattern recognition is like the activity of the brain, and the patterns where it can see them is past in our own life, or others, or books, teachers, authorities, what they say. If you have, I don't know, like me, spent a fortune on trainer, gurus, mentors, and the majority of them says a certain thing and it sounds the same, then the brain has a tendency to first see the pattern. Oh, from 10 teachers, trainers, gurus, 8, 9, or even all of them say the same thing. There's a pattern. Oh, then this must be correct. This must be the truth. What if all 10 are wrong? What if they are all right and for them it works, that pattern, but it's wrong for you because you are different? Oops. Oops. Maybe you just read a New York Times bestseller from the guru with 50 million views on YouTube. And that person shows a pattern, a theory. Does that mean it's right for you? Does it mean it's wrong? No. Maybe it is the truth. Maybe it's his or her truth. Does it mean it's your truth? No, not necessarily. Could be. But the brain loves the pattern. The brain wants to reduce the complexity. And it's much easier to listen to 10 gurus, teachers, including me, and follow the pattern than to think for yourself and break a pattern. Which leads, Marilena, you started the whole past. So we have the past, we have others, and others is also community. I'm doing a bit of brainwashing by repeating every week certain memes, like Inner alignment first, outer action second. That's one of my strongest beliefs. This is something I root a lot of my curriculum on. Yes, I believe that this is true. For me, that is true. But I still want you to be awake enough and check in with your own intuition and your own body and run it through your own system and be aware of the pattern recognition tendency of the brain to not just gobble up what I give you here and question it and test it. If it serves you that inner alignment first, outer action second leads to more results and higher levels of happiness, fulfillment, and satisfaction sustainably, then my meme works for you as well, and I hope you take it. But I don't want you to put me into your box of other mentors, gurus, trainers, and just follow the pattern. Then I would do a bad job. Then you would not, I would not empower you. So the voices, they come, and this is now key. They originate most of the time not from within ourself. They originate from outside, from the past, from others, from communities, from peer pressure, from media, from books, from social media. Hello? Yeah, Instagram is so researched now, this whole obsession people have to make their life Instagram worthy, where a family sitting down in a family diner to have lunch and the mother suddenly says, stop everyone, and then she rearranges the plates and the cutlery and says, oh, please lean back, and arrange her whole family so that they all look perfect in the diner before she takes a photo to upload it to Instagram so that her whole family and the food they eat is Instagram worthy by hiding the Big Macs under the table and having the broccolis in center in a big fancy bowl, right? I make up here an example. I'm not that kind of mother. So all these voices are origin from outside, but they are in our head. And the biggest mistake which hinders your inner voice management is, and when I say mistake, it's probably a wrong word, the most common pattern which hinders your inner voice management is, and that's a big word which you will hear me using a lot, because it hinders any kind of change management, any kind of transformation. It is identification. I say it again, identification. Did I say it? Identification. And for this, I invite you again to check in with your body. I will give you two different sentences. And to make it very clear, I will use my chair on wheels to even move here into different positions in front of the camera to make these two very different positions very clear. And I need you to really sense physically in your body the difference. So on one position, and I invite you even to switch positions too, because it helps often the body to be in a different place. It helps the body to sense differences even bigger. That's another trick. I hope you get, I'm giving you a lot of little nuggets and tricks here. So in your first position, and for me, it's always helpful to close my eyes and put my intention, when I put my intention inward, to really sense and feel. And I also like to put one of my hands on my chest, like connecting with myself, my body. I take a few deep breaths and I say, you can say it out loud or think it loud in your mind. I have inner voices. I have inner voices. Say it a few times and feel how that feels in your body. I have inner voices. I have voices in my head. Feel it, feel it, feel it. And then either on the same place you're sitting, you shake your body, you shake your arms, your upper body to shake that feeling out. I move into the other position. I close my eyes again, hand on my chest, drop inwards. And I say the variation, which is, I am my inner voices. I am my inner voices. I am the voices in my head. They are me. I am my inner voices. And when you could feel how that feels, shake yourself again and let's meet the neutral position in the middle. Who of you could sense a difference? And please don't be in despair if you didn't. It needs a bit of practice. Okay, I see Linda and Marie, Celine. If you are not on YouTube, on video camera, you can show thumbs up with the emoticons. Who of the three who does, or here, Lydia, awesome. Volano, perfect. Who would like to share? What do you feel is the difference between I have inner voices, I am inner voices? What's the difference? Volano?
All right, Sylvia, thank you. Well, the first one that we were to talk to ourselves, say to ourselves, we have inner voices. I could sense an acknowledgement from within that indeed I have inner voices. So I sided with the statement that I have inner voices. Then with the second one that said, I am my inner voices, I could sense a trigger of disagreement with that statement, a sort of disparity. I was not in agreement that I am the inner voices. That's how I felt. Thank you.
Awesome. Someone else? And Volano, I invite you to check in on a literally physical level, how these kind of acknowledgement and agreement, how and where in your body does it show up? Is it a heaviness, a tingling? Is it a tightening? Is it a relaxation? Because this is for us in our culture, in our society, in the patriarchy, so hard. We go so quickly into the more intellectual concepts and words like acknowledgement and agreement. It's perfect, great words. And underneath there is a physical layer, which I needed years to even get to sense that, because I lived most of my life from the chin up here in my head in order to avoid my body's sensation and reactions because they were so uncomfortable. Anyone else? One more example, we have time. Linda, yes. How do you feel the difference?
I totally agree with Volano, but then when you said about the physical, I felt heavy.
Which side? Both or one?
No, when I said I am.
Yes.
When I was on the side where I was just saying I have them, I went, yeah, that's fine because, well, I have them. But over here, I had to take responsibility for them. And I actually felt horrible because I was thinking of the ones we just wrote down. And then, like Volano said, really, I've got a lot of voices in my head that are wonderful. But when I said I am my inner voices and I only thought of the voices that I wrote down, I just went, oh no, am I really? No, I don't like it.
Brilliant. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. So for all of you, and we will do soon, because I promised you to give you a bit of a coaching process, how to manage your inner voices. So soon we will work on one specifically you wrote down. This is now, again, a little side training, Change Management 101. When you are identified with something, it's much harder to change it. I say it again. When you are identified with something, it's much harder to nearly impossible to change it. This is why I remember 2 years ago, I was part of a business documentary TV series where the mentor, the coach, and I had signed by contract, to do what they tell me to do, sort of. Before that, I had very long bohemian hair with a cut in the middle and very long hair my whole life. And then during this live documentary TV show, they asked me, Sylvia, that doesn't fit any longer, your age, your brand, your energy, your personality. You need to cut your hair. This is my new haircut, but now with the pandemic outgrown, whatever. I remember sitting on the chair in the hair salon, and I'm not a fearful person. I started suddenly crying. The poor hair salon lady, she was like, "Ah, what did I do? Did I hurt you?" And I started to cry because I was so identified with my long hair throughout my life. I mean, every time I saw myself, I felt every day I was brushing. So my point is, it's a banal, simple example. We are identified with nearly everything which is habitual, which we are in connection with every day of our life. And it's our body, the shape of our body, the weight of our body, our hair. It's a certain furniture you use for years. I mean, think about the anxiety you maybe or maybe not have when you switch computers, laptops, or when you switch. Have anyone of you made a switch from Apple smartphone to an Android or back? Oh my gosh, yeah, how much anxiety and stress that causes. So now you know the underlying issue is we are literally identified with our machines. We get so used to something that we subconsciously think, I am my phone. I am my iPhone. What? My husband hates iPhone. He always tries to, every time I upgrade, to convince me to let go of my iPhone. And I'm like fighting for my iPhone as if he tries to take my child away. Why? Because subconsciously I'm identified. I think I am my iPhone. I can't give up my iPhone. And if you work in corporate and have ever tried any change initiative, what is one of the most common voice you hear from the team members, from other departments, not yours, other departments? What do they say?
That's the way we do things around here.
Exactly. This is not the way how we do things around here. Why is it so hard for human beings to change? Here in the United States, I'm not American. I love living here still. It drives me nuts, Democrats, Republicans. Why can't they get together and are fighting constantly? Because they are Democrats or Republicans, because they identify with their political viewpoints. For me as a German, that is so weird. You have no idea. Because throughout my life, my parents switched whom they voted for every few years, because they voted for a political agenda certain political people had. They were not identified. They were not members of a party and then identified, oh, I'm now a lifelong whatever party you would like to label. So this is, I have to look at the time, sorry. Sometimes my brain likes to jump into this side content. This is Change Management 101. Identification stands in the way of change. Identification, to get back into our inner voice management, stands in the way of you managing your voices. So the first, and this is not part, I'm giving you now the coaching process. So the first step, what we did, which is the coaching process, is the first step, and this is, by the way, Change Management 101 too, acknowledge what's there. And this is what we did. You wrote down your voices, acknowledge what's there. So let's say you want to do an action towards your dream and you feel this inner resistance, this inner hesitancy, and your voice is coming up. The first thing is to acknowledge it's there. I do this literally in my head saying, oh, hi voice, I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
You're cutting out, Sylvia. We've missed about the last 30 seconds of what you said.
Okay, this is outside my control. Can you hear me? You are all frozen in the moment. Can you?
I'm sure Sylvia is back.
There she is.
Okay, great.
Sorry. That's outside my control. I'm on a land cable connected with the internet, living in the Californian countryside, and sometimes the internet is just whatever. But the recording is running through. Thank you for staying here with me. So for the future, just know that when this happens, just stay together, please. I will come back. And if ever the internet, like last week, we had a 2-3 hour outage, doesn't come back on, never worry. I will then create the ending of whatever training we got interrupted during the next Tuesday session. So what was the last thing you heard me saying? from the process?
Acknowledge.
You were talking about acknowledging what is there, the voices that are.
Perfect. So that's step one, by the way, with everything you want to change. So acknowledge it, and acknowledging means not resisting, not pushing it away, because, and that is one of the patriarchal patterns, whenever something comes up we don't like, a voice in our head, or John, the jerks, our first pattern of inclination to act is resistance. Stop, voice in my head, stop from distracting me, stop from hurting me, stop from deviating me or making me procrastinate. I want to move forward. So the patriarchally trained pattern is to resist it. So step one counters that. So instead of resisting your voices, the step one is acknowledge your inner voice. And when this is something you have not ever done, it's really good to have an inner conversation. Literally tell yourself, thank you, voice, I hear you. I hear you are coming up. The second step is, and this, as more often you will do these steps, I have them now like in a blink of an eye. But when you learn them now through me here, it might take a few minutes to go through them. So the first one is acknowledging what's there without resisting, without judgment. The second step is what we just did, is to remind yourself, hi, voice, thanks for being here. I know I have you. I know I am not you. Just this little reminder, because identification makes change difficult. I'm getting the message, my internet connection is unstable. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the second step is just a reminder, I have your voice, I am not you. It's a reinforcement which makes it more malleable. Yeah, it's a bit like, hey, I'm not my phone, I have that phone and I can make now a new choice. Do I upgrade with the same brand or do I switch operating systems? Sila, yes?
Sorry, Sylvia. I know that you're not supposed to resist or judge or push away, thank it and listen it and all of that. And then when you say, I know I have you, I know I'm not you, instead of that, sometimes I try and make the voice feel shame. I'm like, oh, it's you again, you know, and that kind of sort of startles the voice and it kind of leaves. So I don't know if that's a ninja trick, but it does work for me sometimes.
It's a
It's
super
you
duper.
again. It's like, haven't you left? You know, and they're like, and sometimes they're like, ooh, and then it just leaves.
I love it, Sila. So Sila is advanced in inner voice management. So all of you play with it and use what works for you. I love the ninja trick or brain hack or whatever you discover. Everyone's voices is unique. And if you find some tricks, that's absolutely wonderful. I share at the end 1 or 2 shortcuts I have developed, but for you starting out, I want your brain first to understand the different layers, and as more often you do it, as easier and quicker it comes, and play with it and be creative and do things like Sila just described. So we have acknowledgement, the reminder, I have you, I am not you. And now this is something we have not yet talked about. The third step is ask the voice what it needs to leave you. I repeat that. The third one is ask the voice what it needs to leave you. And this is also a break in pattern of what the mainstream self-management teachings are. A lot of teachers and gurus, they talk about of letting go. Have any one of you heard the concept of letting go stuff? Letting go stuff, letting go stuff. That's something I struggled with literally for decades. I'm in the self-development movement I'm 54 and I started when I was 19. How many years is that? 35, did I now? Yeah, 35 years, for God's sake. That's a long time, right? And in my 20s and back in Germany, this was like the thing. Just let go. Yeah, whatever it was, like whatever problem you had, whatever inner demon or struggle, just let go, meditate, relax, do yoga, be happy, just let go. So the answer to all problems in the world was in my 20s, in this whole new age sphere I was living in or working in, always just let go. I hated that because I could not do that. I was like from guru to trainer. How the heck do you just, I mean, underline the word just. For me, it was always like a slap in the face or cold water, this word just. It always made me feel so stupid. Okay, thousands of people are meditating and sitting on their yoga mats and letting go of everything, but I could not do that. As more they said, just let go, I felt as more everything was just like going bigger and bigger. Till I realized that from a neurophysiological perspective, this just let go is a form in my brain. It doesn't mean that it's for everyone, but in my brain, that was like a resistance to what is. And that I needed to first, before I can let go of something, need to acknowledge it and honor it for its being there. And then instead of just letting go, I inquire it. I honor it with my question, and then it lets go of me and disappears. And this is step 3. This is the magic of step 3. When I discovered that, I forgot when and where, but that for me was like, woohoo! That was like my Copernican switch, yeah, from, oh my gosh, it's not the earth, not the sun circling around the earth, it's the earth circling around the sun. This kind of big shift for me was to realize, wow, when I inquire with honoring energy, whatever I'm supposed to let go of, it disappears by itself. It let go of me. So when you ask the question, the voice, what do you need to leave me? There are 3 things could happen. One is it leaves you already without even giving you an answer, because just the fact that you stop resisting it and lean into it and inquire into it, some voices say that's all they need to disappear. That's amazing, absolutely amazing. The other one is that it gives you a clear answer. And often the answer could be, you know what, I don't tell you, we will do now here as an exercise. I want you to choose so that you experience it with a specific voice you have. Please choose one of the voices on your piece of paper and raise your hand when you have it. So I know we can go on. Okay, we are going a bit over time, by the way, sorry. So put your attention on that voice, what you just chose, and go through step 1, acknowledge it for being there. Hi voice, I hear you. Remind yourself, I have that voice, I have you, I am not you. And now ask that voice, what do you need in order to leave me? What do you need in order to leave me? And listen for the answer or the physical sensation or the effects. And if you felt something or heard something or had an aha or shift, please raise your hand and share. And I already seen Linda scribing like crazy, writing and sharing, holding her hand up. Linda, yes, my dear, what did you discover?
Acceptance.
Ooh.
That's the word that came into my mind to resolve that voice. That's what the voice told me, acceptance.
Beautiful. Sile, what happened for you?
Yeah.
I got 2 things. I had pay attention and keep learning.
Ooh, beautiful, beautiful. Anne-Marie?
Yeah, my voice was telling me that I need more rest.
It can be that practical. My voice often is, you need water. Seriously, it can be that practical. So I invite you to play with that question and be open whatever comes up. So either they vanish immediately, they give you an answer. Or sometimes, very rarely, when you start doing it and a part of you feels awkward with the whole process and thinking this is really weird and woo-woo, nothing happens. It's like there's a bit of a blockage. So they are not vanishing, but they also don't giving you an answer. Then I invite you to simply stop, take a break and drink water, get fresh air, move your body. Because often when there's a blockage in these kind of inner self coaching processes, a shift in your physiological energy through fresh air, water, moving, taking a break, moves in your brain, in your subconscious mind, whatever was a bit stuck. It's sometimes as an image, as a metaphor. Who of you is old enough to remember the old big disc, music disc we had, and with a needle? Yeah. Well, I had a lovely collection, and now I'm regretting that I didn't keep it to give my boys, but probably I would have hated it. I don't know. Anyways, these discs, they got sometimes stuck with the needle, right? And then they churned and churned and churned. And what did you need to do? Gently, you gave the whole disc player a little gentle poof, a little jump, a little movement, and the needle got into the next ridge. I'm not sure about the English word. So that's the same with the brain. Sometimes our brain neurocircuits, they just like a needle get stuck in the same ridge, and giving our body a little shake, a little break helps us to get out. So to finish our coaching process, step 1, acknowledgement. Step 2, the reminder, I have this voice. It's not me.
No.
3 is the question, what do you need from me to leave me? And 4th is, and that's an action. 4th is always an action, and it can be different. It either is you give the voice what it asks for example, more rest or acceptance or more water. Or it can be also an action towards your goal, towards your dream. I sometimes get the answer of, I want you to move forward despite me being scared. I want you to act. So step 4 is action. And the action is completely unique and depends on your voice and your dream and whatever it is. So it starts from acknowledgement, over the reminder of not to identify with it, over inquiry so that it can leave you. So it's not you who has to let go of it. And 4th is acting upon it to some kind of finish the cycle. And this is one process. Different kind of voices coming from different sources might need something different, but because of time constraints, I will not go there. Things are always more complex, and yet my job here is to reduce the complexity and make it as simple as I can. Before we officially end here, I would love to hear from 2 or 3 of you what made your time showing up here to our community empowerment training today valuable. What do you take with you? What will you implement in your life as a leader? Who would like to share?
I'm going to try and use this with my nephew and play with it and ask him to play along with me and see if it can help him get unstuck.
Ooh, lovely, lovely. That's leadership. That's leadership, that you learn something here and teach it and share it and bring it to others. Awesome. Anyone else? What was valuable for you being here? 1 or 2 more voices. Anyone?
I'm certainly going to use it in when I'm coaching.
I think starting.
Wait, Marilena, Sile started first. Sile, go ahead. Marilena.
There's a little overlap. I'm going to be using it with people that I coach with.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Latasha just said, I will try the inner voice thing. I just hope, and now I missed it closing. I just hope it isn't a tough negotiator. LOL, exactly. Marilena, what did you start to share?
Yes, to start to have that dialogue with the voices is interesting, I think, to explore a bit further the question of what it needs to leave.
Beautiful.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, awesome. So we are coming here to an end for today. Thank you so much. This was part 2 of our whole answering Linda's questions. How do we protect our visions? If you have not seen our episode from last week, completely different process, please go back on YouTube and watch the replay. It's on YouTube. You just put in Sylvia Becker-Hill without the hyphen, and you find my new channel, the Juicy Life Leader TV. And there's a playlist, CET, Community Empowerment Training. Please share the opportunity to join us here live every week with your circles, your colleagues, your friends. The sign up to get on the email list to get here the Zoom links to join us live is juicylifeleader.com/free training. juicylifeleader.com/free training, and then they can join us live here, because there's a different energy. There's a benefit of being live. Not only can you ask questions, which maybe define the upcoming content, but you can network with each other and you enjoy a higher level of energy than watching the replay. And yet, replay viewer, I'm so delighted you do that, because obviously that's so much better than not getting this training. So thank you for making the effort to be here live. And next week, thanks to Jack, who had to leave us, we have the topic for next week. How to love the jerks in your life. That's the question. That's the topic for next week. It fits the love month of February. And I see you next week. Same time slot. And thank you, everyone. Bye.